Good evening. This meeting is now called to order. This is the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee meeting for February 18, 2026. I am Councilwoman Yolanda McCoy. I am taking the place of the chair, Maria Cabrera, this evening. At this time, I will call for the roll for those members of the committee first. Councilwoman Darby,
Excuse.
Councilman Field, Councilman Hackett.
There.
Myself, I am here, Councilwoman McCoy. Councilman Owens,
Present.
Councilwoman Willauer,
Present.
and President Congo. Okay. All right, as a friendly reminder, only members of the committee will be making any motions or seconding. There are actually just 3 items that we're going to be going over this evening. Our very first on this revised agenda notice is a resolution authorizing the mayor to file a third and substantial amendment to the federal fiscal year 2021, city fiscal year 2022 annual action planning regarding the allocation of home ARP funds. So can I have someone please come to the mic and introduce yourself and speak to this resolution?
I usually do testing.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of City Council, both here and virtually. My name is Bob Weir. I'm the Director of the Real Estate and Housing Department. As far as I am here this evening to talk about 2 resolutions that would allow the mayor to file a substantial amendment, and that those 2 amendments are in different years. Background of this is that we have been trying to be as efficient and as effective as possible when we talk about using federal funds for the citizens of the city of Wilmington. When we talk about that, there are oftentimes situations where CDBG funds are committed to projects because that is a very important part of their funding source. They want to say that the city has approved, as support, has committed funds for projects, and sometimes they're not as ready as we would like. So when you talk about sometimes the city, through their federal funds, are first in, and what we've realized is that some of those projects, they are going to take a little bit longer, and for us to have that money just sit in our line of credit with the federal government is not really serving the citizens at a high level. So we are starting to, and we've done a number of these resolutions that are substantial amendments to our fiscal year. The first resolution would be a fiscal year 2021. That's a federal year 2021 and our city 2022. We operate on 2 different fiscal years. This resolution would basically authorize a third substantial amendment, and it's $150,000 of home ARP allocation. Now, what happened is that we were granted as a city $1.7 million of ARP home money. That was specific to folks that were a special population at risk of homelessness, and there's a couple other definitions. That brought with it a substantial administrative allowance for us, and we are not using that. So what we are asking for the federal government to do is to allow us to reallocate that $150,000, and we would address not only the prevention of homelessness, but address the housing instability of the special population, the qualifying population. At this point, the OMB has looked at it, and there is no fiscal impact because these dollars have already been allocated. We are just moving them within the budget. This had required a public notice period of 30 days, which we completed in January of 26. So we are in compliance, and this would allow us to take that $150,000 and distribute it really for homeless prevention services and for the citizens of Wilmington. The second resolution that I'd like to address is a first substantial amendment, and that is for the federal fiscal year 2025, our city 2026.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind, I would like to find out whether or not any of my colleagues or anyone has any questions about this very first resolution. And I also would like to acknowledge that President Congo has joined us. Councilman Owens, you had a question?
Yes. Quick question on $150,000 resolution. Where is that money going? What is it going to be used for exactly?
Well, we're talking about homeless services, so that would be not only prevention services from nonprofits that are currently doing that for the city in partnership, and for homeless services that would basically be shelter, clothing, basic materials. So that would be allocated through the existing providers to folks that are in current need.
Okay. If you do not have a follow-up, Councilman Owens, I did have a question. Did you have a follow-up?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you may follow.
The funds that was originally allocated, is this in line with what it was traditionally meant to be used for?
The home ARP money was a special grant to the city that identified a specific population. It was above and beyond what our regular home allocation was. With the 1.7, we had $650,000 of administrative allowance. One of the things that we do with the grants that we pay for city staff, and in this particular case, the grant was awarded to a single provider, and we weren't going to use those administrative fees. So what we basically did is we looked at where the need was, and we're moving that money so that we can provide the nonprofits that are currently providing these services a little more money to be a little more robust in their services.
All right, thank you. So my question then is, the 150,000 that you are, it's coming from this Riverside Development?
No, that was.
I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on.
Well, the
Allocation was to Penrose LLC for Riverside Development Phase 5. That's initially where it was going. And now we're going to use those funds to the nonprofits who are actually, who are hands-on when it comes to the homeless population here within the city? Okay.
Correct.
Are we naming these nonprofits on here?
We can, as far as we didn't do it in the resolution, but I do have a list that I could provide to City Council.
All right. So were there any other questions? Okay, Councilman Hackett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This might be off topic a little bit, but with the homeless encampment, and this is just for a question, maybe Stephanie Mergler can help me on this one. Are we the only city in the state of Delaware that's doing an encampment? No. Okay. And I'm only asking just, as I read over and see that, we have, fellow maybe neighborhood states bringing in homeless people and trying to figure out, just where things are going.
Well, I would certainly defer to Stephanie Mergler if you would be so kind to.
Yes, there is a tent village in the southern part of the state, I believe in Georgetown. There is also the Pallet Village down there as well. So we are not the only place in the state of Delaware with an encampment. But you are correct in that a large number of the people who are here currently did not originate in Wilmington.
And can I get a follow-up?
Yes, you may follow.
And the only reason why I asked this is, we're here to make adjustments on ARPA funds today, but, I'm just looking at the future as this continues to grow and we continue to invest in something like this. What does this look like for the city? Is like my main thing, and yeah, that's like.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, this is, the resolution before you today is only reallocating these particular home ARPA funds, but it is not the only strategy or solution.
Okay. That's it.
All right, thank you. I did have another question. So these funds basically came from fiscal year about 5 years past. What, so what has been happening with that, I guess that nonprofit that they have not been able to use these funds? You said it was administrative fees?
It would have gone to us.
Oh,
Right. Reach Riverside project was awarded these funds in that year, fiscal year, and then the administrative fees we could use. So at this point, we've looked at it, and we have to justify our administrative fees just like an attorney would. That if staff's working on a project for an hour, they then bill an hour against that administrative fee. So we looked at it. We said we're not going to spend this money, and we do have a need. Once again, the need outstrips our resources. So we're constantly looking for where are there more resources to apply to some of these community issues that we are trying to solve or to ease.
okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Okay. I would like to recognize Councilwoman Bracy has joined us as well. Did anyone else have any other questions? Okay. All right. I said, well, Mr. Weir, I do realize that this was the very first resolution. I do want to make certain everyone is aware that this resolution is time sensitive and it will be on tomorrow's meeting on February 19th. We'll be coming before the full council to vote for a vote. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the very second resolution. That resolution is, hold on. It is a resolution authorizing the mayor to file a first substantial amendment to the federal fiscal year 2025, fiscal year 2026 annual action plan for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Housing and Urban Development. All right, Mr. Weir, if you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This resolution is to allow the mayor to file this substantial amendment. As was stated, it's in the fiscal federal year 25 and the city federal fiscal year 26. This is the same mechanism that we're looking at funds that are available and where the need is, and if they're not matching up, then we are moving those funds to where the need is. In this particular case, the source of the funding is program income. When we make loans to people, when we develop property ourselves, that the sale proceeds are then program income. Or say, for instance, a situation where we might have made a loan to a affordable housing development a number of years ago. They go to sell it, and part of the requirement that they agreed to is that they would pay the city back. So we had almost $1 million that came in program income, and what we're proposing here is that we would take $110,000 of those CDBG funds, and we would move those to several public service homeless prevention activities and to Code Purple. I think we can all appreciate that over the last couple weeks with the weather we've been having, that there has been an increase in the Code Purple demand, and we're hoping that we can ease that a little bit with moving this money into that end use. And then we're also looking to free some money up so that we can do some demolition, and we can also create a CDBG-funded rental rehabilitation program. The demolition is at $200,000, and the rental rehab program is $800,000 in the budget. What we would look at that is that we would put together a program that would have limits on the units, sizes, costs, and so forth and so on. That still be determined as far as how we would get that done, and we'd be involved with, none of the administration would be involved with City Council in talking about that. But as far as at this point, we are feeling strongly that as affordable housing goes, there are small, unsubsidized landlords that could increase the quality of life for their tenants if they had some renovation money. There had been programs that have been funded through the state, and they've kind of lost some of their glitter as far as use in the city, and we are thinking that this is just part of the overall strategy to see if we can take the money that is available and move it into the service of the citizens and the community.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, OMB has also looked at this, and there's no fiscal impact to this action because the money has already been allocated.
All right, so the same question goes again. Just wanted to find out a little bit more about program income, because you're saying we have $1 million of program income. What now, I see where you want to allocate those funds, if you're not going to use it for that, but what initially was it coming from again?
From the sale of a apartment building on Lancaster Avenue, and then when we renovate properties and we sell those properties, affordable properties to affordable buyers, that is program income, our net proceeds. So as an example, we might spend $300,000 to renovate a building, and that is from the bare walls to a finished product. We might sell that for the $210,000 range with fees and services taken out of that. We might have program income of estimated $180,000, and that $180,000 then is still CDBG, so it's not losing its federal requirements, but now it comes back to the city and it's unbudgeted at that point. Now, in previous years, last year, we budgeted all our program income in the actual budget process. This year came in a little bit later, so we didn't take an estimate of that. So we're, rather than sitting around and waiting for our full budget and at this point, we don't really have any dates on that as far as what Washington's going to do as far as our budget is concerned. So rather than wait till our full budget process is sorted out, we wanted to move this money right away because we know there's folks that are coming in and having they have the question, hey, I have a rental and I need some help, and we're talking about warm, safe, and dry, so it's roofs, it's heaters, it's hot water, those type of things for rental properties that are currently renting and will promise to rent to affordable tenants for a term.
Well, I have other questions, but okay, Councilwoman Willauer.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Chair. The sale of an apartment building?
Yeah, it was
Maybe you could provide the.
Lancaster, up next to the charter school, Lancaster Court, I believe it was called. We were just part of the financing for that. So as far as there was federal funds as far as a subsidy, but when they sold it, we usually put this on most of our contracts anyway, on large projects like that, that when they sell, they have to pay us back.
Oh, that's something 7th District. Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have. Madam
Okay.
Chair.
All right. Did anyone else have any questions? Because I did. I still had some more. So just wanted to find out about this program, for this rental property repairs. Wanted to find out, how do we come up with this? I mean, this is actually, sounds innovative. Mm-hmm. I would like to see more apartments, get repairs so that we make certain that they are safe and dry for our renters here within the city. But where is this? Who's pushing this? Is this an administrative idea or one of my council colleagues that I can support? Like, where is this coming from?
It comes from many people so we have folks that come into the real estate house department on a pretty consistent basis, and they are telling us that they have an apartment building they're renting to folks that are making less than 80% area median income, and they have a leak in their roof and they don't have any money to fix it. When you talk about the costs versus the profits of being a small rental owner, sometimes it is very thin as far as the margin is concerned. A lot of times the folks that are doing small units, 2 and 3 units per building, on paper it works out, but if you have a tenant that doesn't pay you rent a month or 3, and it just kind of blows your whole financial plan up. So one of the things that we are interfacing with is with license and inspection, so that we're looking at what some of those issues that they're seeing on a regular basis. We, in real estate and housing, would like to have a bigger footprint in that space as far as helping rentals. We do not have a hard program guideline right this very second. We don't have that hard policies and procedures, but we know that we can start, and this is relatively small, $800,000. We can start small and we can build into it. we feel it's part of the ladder on housing, so that we are talking about in that first resolution, we're talking about helping folks that are unhoused. So they're not really on the ladder yet. Now we're talking about the folks that are renting, what's their income. I think it's part of the unsaid truth about housing is that we are not always, it's not always a housing solution. Oftentimes it's an income solution. So when we talk about that subsidy that's required, it's because we have an income gap, and we're looking at, how can we provide quality, affordable housing, and we think that probably starting with existing is the way to do it, because we think we could probably stretch our dollars a little bit further. $25,000 a unit versus we talk about, like, say, for instance, home ownership right now is we're pretty much sitting tight at $130,000 to $140,000 subsidy a unit. So when we talk about preserving affordable housing, rental that's already in place, the quality of that rental, we also on a regular, we participate with lead hazard reduction programs. We currently are partnering with the Newcastle County government, but that also is a quality of life issue for those folks that are renting properties. So we are looking at, the triage of all the issues that are attacking our citizens and the community in general, and how can we take the limited resources we have and make them work as smart as possible.
Councilwoman Wellhour, she actually had a question.
It wasn't a question, but can I say something?
Oh, yeah, you make.
I just wanted to say to Director Weir and the whole Department of Real Estate and Housing, this is great. And I really think it's a need, and I think it's a great way to stretch the dollars. Everything you said makes a lot of sense. And I just want to, thank you for taking this initiative and for bringing this to us. And I look forward, to seeing how it works out. And hopefully there can be some collaboration with council, because we see the issues too. So
I didn't mention it, but as far as the demolition, in our community, in our neighborhoods, when we have a property that is about to fall down, well, the licensed inspection department goes out and they can take those buildings down. But that property now has a lien on it forever. And the only way you get out from the lien is either pay it or it's taken to sheriff's sale and the city takes the property. Versus if we use federal funds, what it allows us to do is that it allows us to say to that owner of the property that you can get, it's a get out of jail free card. You can take the lien that we put on your property to tear it down and provide affordable housing. It's a term and it's a sliding scale based on how much was used to tear the building down. But it allows us to create more controlled affordable housing so that it's not just a fee that they owe the city. They can actually provide the affordable housing, and after 10 or 15 years, according to how much was used, they have to provide that for the entire time that they're there to allow us to release that lien. So, we're a little push, a little shove, a little pat in the back, a little kick in the butt, that we're trying to make it all work.
Okay. All right, Councilman Hackett.
Thank you. And I guess I guess this is all interested to all of the council. We talk about renters right now heavily as we, discuss so much, in our cities, it's predominantly renters. The program, I try to figure out, when you say make it affordable with existing, and I guess, the guidelines of the program haven't been scratched out, but my thought process is does this, when you give somebody $25,000 a unit, does this decrease the rent that they could possibly, charge? If it's already existing now and we're already looking at a high rent, what does it look like when we invest in this apartment? Does that say, hey, listen, you were charging $1,650, but we're going to go ahead and upgrade you, give you about $30,000, $40,000, and you need to go down to $1,350 if you want to be a part of this program? It's something that I look to see, because we're not, as much as you upgrade, the main focus is people need to afford it. And if they can't afford, things, then it doesn't matter where they're at.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. And I guess when I hear you talk about the program, it sounds like it's something different a little bit. And I'm more than line just looking like, if we're going to do a program, giving money to somebody to upgrade their housing for people that's living in there but still struggling, how does that help the renter?
Well, Wilmington is unique in as much that there is really kind of a flat line on rents throughout the city. As far as when you talk about, say, for instance, neighborhoods that are fractured versus neighborhoods that are stable, oftentimes the rent is very close to each other.
Yeah.
The real difference is the folks that are paying 3 months of security or don't have any judgments or so forth and so on. So the folks that have choice have choices. When we talk about this particular program, this is driven out of the income of the individual or family. So if you are at 80% AMI in the city of Wilmington, that is roughly $63,000. So they can rent to someone at whatever price, but the income of the folks has to match what we're requiring. At the end of the day, we're talking about 30% of your housing costs is the guideline. People make decisions and say, hey, I'm going to spend more than 30% of my income on housing. And you know, I don't recommend that for anyone. But the idea that it starts being driven by what the income is, not what the market rent is.
Correct.
Now, they're very closely attached. So I don't want to try to tell you that, you know, when you are subsidized by a CDBG program and you can only rent to 80% AMI, that it's going to radically change the rent. But it will cap it and will not let it expand because it's constantly connected to the income. And one of the things that we have to do when we invest like that is that we have to have regular reporting from those landlords that they have taken the income from their tenants and then submit it to us. So when we talk about the long-term affordability, we have a watchdog role that says, yes, the people you're renting to, they are income qualified.
Yes, you may follow.
And I guess I'm just picking back and just trying to figure out, you know, if I make $60,000 a year, you know, in today's, you know, world, maybe possibly I could, you know, afford to live certain, you know, places. You would think, you know, I guess my only thing is everybody's trying to figure out how to make people want to live in the city of Wilmington and in all cities around America. And I think if we have an opportunity to look at a fund that's, you know, unbudgeted right now, to go back and, because I can only imagine if I had an apartment complex and, you know, once again, I still could pick who can come into my apartment complex. And, you know, I now can sign up for a city funding to also advance my apartment complex. And, you know, then eventually when the time comes down the line, later down the line, I mean, once again, I could just put anybody in there. And we just look at a whole population of people that are not, you know, thriving and living here. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what do we do for them when we have the opportunity to do so? Because once again, $60,000 today is a great income.
Well, I think we're all trying to figure it out.
It's pretty decent compared to people.
Well,
today.
at 60,000, that's 60,000 gross.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying pretty
about it,
decent
right.
when you look at today's market, and we're trying to figure out. You know, I know people today that graduate college, and you know they're making decent money, but then we look at some of our people in our community, is what I'm saying, that you know still doing the Amazon and the DoorDash and other things, they're not making nowhere near close to $50,000, but they still have to pay the same rent of somebody that's making $50,000. Is what I'm saying. Like, how do we figure that? And like I said, the program, and that's why hopefully I think Councilwoman Willard spoke on it. We just want to work together on this because the idea came about. I think we shooting over millions of ideas. You know, Marcel will tell you, I'm going to shoot some stuff over later on about how we can, once again, our renters, help them in the front end instead of, you know, we do so many different things on the back end. But like you said, security deposits and more stuff. You know, people can't even get into the apartment because they can't afford the security deposit. So this program, I think, could have had a multifaceted of things instead of just sound like just, you know, one thing.
Yeah. Well, this is just one thing, and
Add
as far
some
as
more
it's part of the matrix of all the pieces that we're trying to put together. And when we talk about income at 80% of CDBG AMI for that investment, well, when you have a, say, for instance, a tax credit project, they reach down to 30%.
Right.
Now, can we have enough units that everyone that is a 30% earner that can have an apartment to move into? That's eventually what you want to do. But I think we all know that the need far outstrips the resources.
It's just a subsidized. So if you were subsidizing a house that was supposed to be $350,000, but you take it to $220,000, that person's mortgage went down significantly, and that helps to also help the same guy that's building the contract. So it's a win-win. I'm just trying to figure out the win-win and a renters program as well if we move forward. That's all.
We're on the same page.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And Councilman Owens, you had a question?
Yes. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Councilman Hackett brought up about the affordability and the real life affordability. For some of these places now, like you still have to make 3 times the rent per month, right? So if we're going to do a project in which we're going to be helping landlords out, which I think is extremely needed and goes towards safe and healthy rental opportunities for people, I think that we also should be talking to them about eliminating some of those barriers to get into this affordable housing. People aren't going to have a 700 credit score, be making 3 times the amount in rent, monthly rent, bring home, right? And still be able to do all this and qualify for that. I understand that you're not supposed to spend more than 30% of your income on rent or on housing, period. But the reality is a lot of people are right now. And what we can control is we can work with the landlords. We have no power over the Delmarvas, right? The state does. Hope they do something. Meeting's going on right now. But also, usually, the Delmarva bill gets put in a tenant's name. The water bill gets put in a tenant's name. So these are additional prices on top of that just monthly rental fee as well, too. So, again, just creating more guidelines and protections for renters while also working with landlords to really help them through this process as well too, because I think both sides, both renters and landlords, a lot of them have a lot of distrust with the city right now, right? They're not happy with the city. Everyone's upset with the city, especially if you bring up property taxes. So again, understanding like where we are, right, and how we can learn from them and work with them to make sure that this is actually benefiting everyone, both the landlords and the property owners and the renters.
I think we're on the same page there.
All right, thank you. So I do have 2 people online for public comment. If all my colleagues will allow me to go ahead and. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Bracy, you had a question or comment?
Yes, but I think you can go ahead and move to public comment. I just wanted to refocus us back on the legislation at hand because I think we're having 2 separate conversations. A lot of the issues that some of the colleagues were talking about are income issues. And I think that there's some conversations that we need to be having about how do we address the root cause. Affordability isn't the root cause. The income and the lack thereof is the root cause. And how do we start to really hone in on economic mobility and really strengthening the incomes of our residents? Because if we pay their first to last month's rent and they still can't pay the rest of the rent for the rest of the month, then we really haven't helped them. So hopefully we can, after we've gotten through this legislation, start having some follow-up conversations about how we really address the issues and help our constituents. Thanks.
All right, thank you,
I
Councilman.
just want to clarify something.
Councilman Hackett.
I just want to put a point clarity here. This resolution that was before us today was specifically speaking on a program that would have been added for renters. So as this program was added, we just wanted to make sure and voice our opinion about the program as these more details are going to be followed. And just to be stated, if you pay the first month rent and the security deposit, that lessens the rent for somebody if they had a 12-month lease. That's just a mathematical equation. So.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Follow up, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Bracy.
This isn't germane to what we're talking about right now. And what I said was I would love for us as colleagues to continue this conversation post meeting. So hopefully we can talk more about what we can do and how we can really tackle the root causes of the problems. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I'm like, no, we're not going to do this back and forth. Y'all can take it outside. All right, so I would like to give the public an opportunity to speak. Or the public comment. Do we have Miss Sophia Voigt? Can you please raise your hand if you're still on the line? Is she still on the line?
No.
Okay. All right.
They don't have their hand up.
Okay. And how about Victor Cushman? Is Victor Cushman still on the line?
Let's find out.
Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so if there's no one else within our audience who has anything to speak, did you, Councilman Howard, did you still need to make a comment?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. Okay, so this resolution will be on our tomorrow's agenda for February 19th because it is time sensitive. I would like to thank Mr. Weir and Ms. Megler for bringing this information to us. Also, thank you for making certain that you are checking our coffers and see what we have so that we can use them in better ways. I thank you for taking that time to do that. All right, so next on our agenda, all right, we have Councilman Owens. Are we still going forward?
No, I would like to pull that.
Okay. All right. So Councilman Owens, he was on the agenda. He's actually going to hold it for now, and so we'll get a chance to talk about that at another date. So the last ordinance on the agenda is Ordinance 26-013, an ordinance to authorize and approve a one-year extension of contract 26011 LI vacant property services between the City of Wilmington and R&A Contractors LLC. And Director Pabon, Commissioner Pabon, you're here to speak?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I want to say hi to Madam Chair and all the council members that are present and online. This ordinance is pretty simple. It's a vacant property services. It's for the contractor that provides the services for the vacant properties. He currently has the contract now from July 1 of 2025, and it expires June 30th. And this is a one-year extension for him to continue to provide this service. And again, it's vacant property services. Mr. R&A Contractors has the contract, and he's had it for a few years now. He was awarded the contract last year, and this is again the 1 year option for extension.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I didn't know whether or not any of my colleagues had any questions. Okay, Councilman Willauer.
Yeah, I thank you very much. I think this is important. I do have a question of, do you see a need for any additional funding? I know this is a contract that you're extending. This is not about the amount, but do you think that this is like enough to pay for the need?
Yes, I do. I think the contract was 166. I think the awarded contract was 166,350. Last year it was budgeted 130, and we didn't reach that amount. I think that this historically has been enough for the services. Our policies have changed, and I think that more owners are realizing that it's their responsibility to board up their properties and maintain their grass, and they rather pay their maintenance people or do it themselves than to pay for someone who's going to do the services and a lien gets put on their property. So I think as we're having more conversations with property owners and we're engaging them more with a vacant team, I think that it's now holding them a little bit more accountable, which is helping with this services that's being provided.
Okay, a follow-up.
Yes, Councilwoman Willauer.
Okay, so, there are a lot of vacant properties in the 5th District, and there are, people who want these services, and so I do communicate fairly frequently with your vacant property team. And one of the issues that people have is that the boards get taken off, and then the contractor, says, well, that just happens. And, having run the land bank, I'm familiar with the screwing of boards onto windows and doors and things like that. And there are different methods for doing it. And just screwing in boards, they can easily be unscrewed. And in fact, that happens like all the time. And then sometimes what happens is that the contractor gets called again to like reinstall. So I was wondering if you would consider adding to this contract bolt boarding, like a C, A, B, and C. That bolt boarding is when you secure from the inside. It's in the contract, but it's not spelled out. But once you do bolt boarding, you have boards behind, And it's basically impossible to get out, because that's the problem that we face. You know, I know with this contractor even, that the boards get taken off, and then it takes a while to get them back on. And so having a way to escalate the quality of the boarding within the contract, I think would like really reduce the ability for people to get into properties. And I was just like to ask if you would consider adding that to the contract.
Did you say it's in the contract currently now?
No, it's not in the contract. If you could add a C around bolt boarding, that if, you know, that there could be an option to ask the contractor to install bolt boarding, which currently they don't do.
No, they don't. When the I guess when the contract went out for people to bid, that portion wasn't in there. So this current contract doesn't have it. So, I mean, this is an extension to existing contract.
Is there any way you can, like, I mean, you haven't signed the contract yet, right?
But since it was bid out and that was part of the bid the bid package, we'll just have to discuss with the law department and procurement and make sure that that's something we can actually do. Just since it was part of a RFP, like an actual bid. So there's law requirements around whether you can change it or not. That's all.
Okay, I understand. That would be my request. Add bolt boarding as an option so that that can be, like, so you can escalate the quality of the boarding to reduce, like, these repeat boarding situations.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Mallory. Councilman Hackett.
Yeah, so this is just a quick question. So was this a multi-year contract, but in the contract it specifically said that you can extend after 1 year or 2 years? Okay, okay.
How many years is it?
I was just trying to.
Just 1 year. It's a 1 year extension. They just got it.
It's a 1-year contract with a 1-year extension. So we're currently in the first year.
Oh, that don't even make no sense.
Yeah, it's a 1-year contract with a 1-year extension option. Yes.
Okay.
So
You need to follow?
yes, it's one follow. So with the extension, I guess my thought process is if you have a contract and it's only for 1 year and you're doing an extension, you should be able to, because based upon somebody's performance or different things that we might see as the person that's setting out the bid. Oh,
I'm just not promising that we're able to.
okay, got you.
Saying we'll go back and we'll double check.
Okay,
That's
just
all.
got it. Just check.
All right, yeah, also, I just wanted to add, so what they're actually making you aware of, if you take a look at the legislation, the ordinance, is that there is a contract already in here. And because of the fact that they put up, an RFP went out, and these people have actually gave a bid, like, I can do this for this amount, by adding an additional piece that you're asking for, that would actually offset whatever that they bid it. So just wanted to make you aware. Councilman Owens.
Yes, I have two questions.
ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. So my first question is, when we pay out this contract, do we pay it all out in one time, or is it based on the hours that are logged in with us?
Yeah, so what happens is, just to give you a quick synopsis of kind of what happens, right? Property's open. Someone calls L&I for whatever reason, whether it's Wilmington Police because it's after hours or if it's during the day. We come out, we evaluate it. We make every attempt to call the owner first. If we can't get a hold of the owner, we would then call our contractor. Our contractor comes out. He provides the service, whether it's cutting the grass, cleaning up, boarding up the property. What happens is after he provides that service, if he has himself, which is the foreman, and then 2 laborers, then he charges for the labor and then the cost and if there's a dump fee. He sends us a bill within 30 days. We process the bill. We immediately try to process the bill. And then what we do is once the bill is processed and a bill number is generated, that cost is then leaned on that property. And it sits on that property until the property's sold or someone comes in and pays it. So that's kind of like how the service goes.
Yes, you may follow.
And my follow-up for the emergency rates, so let's say there's a fire. I know you have experience there. If there is a fire at a vacant property, the contractor will come in and board up only the vacant property. If there's damage to the properties on both sides, is that still covered in this contract or is that a different contract?
Yes, no, he would board up the other properties. Yeah. Again, a lot of times if the owners are like, we'll take care of it ourselves, we'll secure it, we'll give it to them. Sometimes their insurance companies tell them, but if it's in the middle of the night, a lot of times we will make sure that the contractor will secure it. So he could secure 5 properties You know, just because the fire occurred in one house, he could be securing all 5 properties.
Just one more question.
Yes, you may follow. Councilman.
Does this also include like boarding up a roof if the fire department had to like cut a hole for ventilation?
Usually no. I mean, it does include partial demolition. Like if
Okay.
there is like something hanging over, it includes grass cutting, picking up trash, cleanups after a fire. A lot of the debris that's not picked up by Public Works because they're unable to pick it up because it's fire debris, our contractor will come back and pick up that trash.
Thank you.
Okay. So one of the is, thank you, Councilman Owens and Hackett for bringing information to us also. I did want to state that once this information was brought to me, one of the questions that I did ask was the fact that you were a little early with your contract. So wanted to find out what actually had taken place that we are coming back to revisit this a few months earlier than the end of the contract. If you don't mind explaining, or do you have that information in front of you? This contract was signed, looks like June, the end of June, or whatever, and here we are in February, just trying to find out whether or not did they run out of funding, like what caused us to revisit this a few months early?
No, it's just the timing of the ordinance, yes. It was just the timing of the ordinance. You know, they just reached out and said, you know, is this something that you want to extend? You have this option. If it is, let's work on this ordinance to get it in front of council, you know, as soon as possible.
It wouldn't become effective until June.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. It's I think that it was just trying to get this in before the budget season starts, before all the budget hearings, just to make sure that it was smooth and we're not trying to rush and get it in June, in May, I guess, right after the hearings start again.
So you do still have funding left for the vacant
Oh,
properties?
absolutely, yes.
Okay, good.
yes.
That's what I wanted
yes.
to make certain.
Yes, the funds we should be okay all the way to the budget, and then the new budget has the amount of funds. And that's part of my budget presentation. I usually will provide how much money was paid out, how much money was recouped, and how much money is pending.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Mallory, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, my only thing would be, because this is a issue that, I don't know, needs improvement, I guess, the vacant property services, there might be an opportunity to, like, change things now instead of just renewing the contract. Or at the very least, definitely next year, before this thing goes out to bid, I would just request to be able to have some input into the content of the vacant property services contract.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, so if there aren't any other questions from my colleagues, do we have anyone on the public who has a question or comment? Okay, all right. With no one else. Now, this ordinance will not be on tomorrow's agenda. We will be waiting till March 5th to hear this in front of the full council, and we'll get a chance to vote on it then. All right. I said, so that's all that we have for this evening. If I can get someone to give me a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. As it has been moved and seconded, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Have a great evening.